Keon Brown here in New York. It is May 12th, 2021. Thank you for watching. My name is Keon Brown. Thank you guys for watching this MCCU Live. Hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. Got a great show for you today. Let's jump in right with our first guest. But before we do that, let me go over a couple things. Congratulations to the class of 2021, class of 2021, and class of 2020 from North Carolina Central University. That includes me. Got my master's degree in educational technology from NCCU. Grateful to be a double Eagle. It's a great day to be a North Carolina Central University Eagle. Let's see. If you're an alumni in the state of Illinois, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. If you know someone in Illinois, tag them in our groups on Facebook and beyond. Let them know that we're looking for them. Let us know what city you're in. Also, in Washington State, if you're in the state of Washington, we're looking for you, NCCU graduates in the state of Washington, Illinois, Washington, and Texas. Don't mess with Texas. If you're in the state of Texas, we're looking for you as well. We've got some amazing things happening with the NCCU Alumni Association, and we want to hear from you. While we're getting our folks loaded up, we've got Vernon Samuel, we've got Drew Johnson, and we've got Sarah Freyer on today, and they're loading up today. They're in our green room. We're excited about them. We also are doing summer reading with authors that are NCCU graduates. So if you're a North Carolina Central University graduate, you have a book, we want to hear from you. We want to have you on our show this summer, and we want to read your book. So if you know folks that have books, tag them, tell them to DM us. We want to have them on the show, and we want to read their books. We want to support our own. Let's see if there's anything else I want to tell you before we bring in our first guest. Let's see. That's it. Let's bring in Drew Johnson. Drew, we're going to bring Drew in. All right. Drew, you there?
Yeah, man. What's going on, man?
All right. I can't hear anything. Let me just make sure everything is going on my end. I can't hear you. Let's see here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
I can hear you. Of course, this is live. So you know this is live TV, Drew. Make sure that I'm okay on this end. All right. All right. Drew, give me 1 second. Thank you guys. Technical difficulties, of course. It happens live. We love that.
Oh, no, it's all good, man.
We still do it well. Hold on 1 second. All right, Drew.
Yep.
All right, I can hear you now. Thank you so much. There we go. Welcome, Drew. Drew's from the class of 08, correct?
Yes, sir.
And thank you for being here, brother. You're celebrating a brand new position at NCCU, Trio Support Services. Can you tell us a little bit about that and your new role as assistant director?
That's a fairly new role. My actual official start date is next week, but I kind of been over here the past 2 weeks, just really getting to know the program, getting to know what things we're going to be doing, and so just to kind of give some background on it, it's dealing with student accessibility, right? And also too, that Trio piece of it is working with that first gen low income population. So it really kind of helps me because I'm coming from a Trio program, the McNair Scholars Program. And so basically the background is you're working with students from first generation, low income, who, in my previous role, you want them to pursue their master's and their PhD. And, now it's working with student accessibility, but with that first gen low income role. And so it's really just about giving students that extra buffer, that layer of support that they need to kind of get through college. You don't really realize how much of, not necessarily disadvantage, but that first gen piece, how much it plays a part in students' life. And so just giving them that extra support, extra, co-curricular activities that we plan for them. So making sure that they feel that sense of community, that sense of belonging.
Indeed. And congratulations on that starting next week. How important is this program and accessibility for our students that are coming into North Carolina Central University? I think that we are by nature, by pure how James E. created us, we have a very specific type of population. I feel like that's who you're tapping into. How important is the role in your office?
It's essential, man, to the campus, not only just as far as, retention, but just everything that we embody as Eagles, right? We're all about truth and service. And so building that sense of community, making students feel like they belong, give them that love treatment, I kind of call it, when you're listening to them, you're understanding, you're validating what they're saying. You'd be surprised how far that goes. And I kind of take from my experience as an undergrad, those professors I was able to connect with. I take from those professors I wasn't able to connect with, right? And I try to pour into my students just everything that I know is right and everything that I don't want them to have any of those type of experiences. So I try to give them all I can. But it's very essential to the overall growth of NCCU, and we're on the right path.
Good to hear that. I actually just sent something out today saying that one of the differences between NCCU and other campuses and other universities is a family. It's a familiar, it's a unique family kind of environment. It's experiential. It taps into character development. It fills in those gaps that traditional educational models may lose. What is one of the most impactful moments that might not be academic that you experienced at North Carolina Central?
So it's funny that you asked me that, right? Because I was doing an interview the other day, and someone asked, I've never worked at the HBCU. What's the culture like there? What's that about? And so I was like, I'm gonna give you two scenarios. Being at Central, especially Central, it's the atmosphere of, I can say something to you, and we might go back and forth, right? But I'm not gonna let anybody else say anything about you or say something to you, and that's kind of like the atmosphere, right? And also, too, we are a HBCU. And it's known that we don't necessarily have all those resources that the PWIs have. And so I try to explain that to people. It's kind of like, imagine the hottest day of the summer. You look in the refrigerator, there's no food, there's nothing there. You're mad. And you tell your mom, like, man, we ain't got nothing to eat. And she's like, yo, give me 30 minutes. She goes in the kitchen and she comes out 30 minutes later with the best meal you ever had. That's kind of the embodiment of HBCU culture, especially Central. Like, you learn how to be resourceful, you learn how to be resilient, but it's just one of those things to where it's that family atmosphere that like only you have to be here to really be a part of. And, a lot of my new staff that I work with, they say, I was not from North Carolina. I didn't go to HBCU, but I came here and I immediately felt like family. And I just feel like you don't really get that at other places. So that's just one of the unique things here.
Yeah, and I think that we come out so much more prepared and so much better for it. And I think that's just something that's uniquely NCCU. So I appreciate that aspect. Drew, how did NCCU find you? How did NCCU find you?
Oh, man. I guess, NCCU probably found me in a dark place because I had transferred into Central, right? I was a student athlete. I started off my college career at Virginia Commonwealth University. And, things weren't necessarily going the way that I was, hoping they would go. And so I decided to transfer to NCCU. I actually had an older cousin who played basketball here. And, he was kind of like, my idol growing up. And so being able to come back, play for the same school he played for, and actually play under him because he was one of the assistant coaches here, it just seemed comforting for what I needed at that moment. Like I needed to feel like I belonged somewhere. And that's what I got here. And so I got here. And honestly, it was a total, 180 of what I was expecting. Like I had never heard of a Chicken Day Wednesday. I didn't even know what Greek life was because, I grew up as a student athlete. Like all I knew was hoops. And so I'm seeing guys hopping around with boots on. I'm seeing I'm seeing guys wearing suits for no reason. I was just like, what's this about? So it was a culture shock. But again, they welcomed me. I felt at home, and it just gave me that atmosphere, that family atmosphere that I always needed.
I love that. One theme that I hear a lot from our alumni is that they felt a sense of belonging, that you belong here. And I love that. That I know their theme right now is what's central to you, find what's central to you. But I would love to hear them say, you belong here. I found that so much, I found that in Africa. That's what they told me when I got to Africa. So I was like, well, they were like, why are you going home? And I was like, because I got to go to work on Monday. But, you know, they were like, you belong here. And I was like, sheesh. They were saying to go back to where you came from. So I guess y'all want me, I should stay here.
We try to make students make sure they feel belonged here.
Yeah, that we have to do that. And that has to be a systematic. That has to be something by design that they feel like, wow, this is for me, uniquely for me. We have to do that, Drew. And I think that who you are and what you're studying and what you're doing, you'll be able to lead us in that way, to uniquely position us that way. So I look forward to supporting you and identifying that. We're going to have the new student body president on in a couple of weeks. So, you know, let's figure out how we can make that happen, as they don't have a vice president because, you know, of the pandemic and all of that. Like, it's just things have just changed, man. Like,
COVID made us like pivot and change some things, but it's okay. We're making it through, though. We're making it through.
Indeed. All right, Drew Johnson, the class of 08, the new assistant director of TRIO Support Services, Student Support Services at NCCU. Stick around. First of all, thank you for being here, good brother. And just stick around. We're going to have you back in a couple minutes, okay?
All right.
All right, Drew Johnson. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, we are jumping into our next guest. So let's just bring in Mr. Vernon Samuel.
Good
Samuel,
evening.
how you doing, good sir?
How are you, man? I'm doing well. How are you?
Excellent, man. Thank you for being here. Welcome, representing class of 2014, right?
Yes, sir. Well, it's supposed to be 2013 originally, but you know, I spent an extra year.
You and me both. Look, I was class of 04. I'll always be class of 04, but you know, I had to go to New York and get an internship and work and all this kind of stuff and come back. But I finished though.
That's all that matters at the end of the day.
And I'm financial, and I give, and I serve. All right.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. All right.
Facts.
Thank you for being here. You're an entrepreneur and you work at Apple, right?
Yeah. So I work at NCCU actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm an Apple specialist at NCCU.
At NCCU. Hey.
Yeah.
Come on. That's
yeah. I can't get away. Yeah. I can't get away, man. Yeah.
Come on. What we got to do to get Macs for everybody? What we got to do to be a Mac campus? What can we do?
No, man. We're working on it. We actually set up some for the Cheatham White Scholars today. So I set up about 25 Macs for those guys. So that was pretty interesting today. Yeah. And I also do photography on the side also. Yeah.
Excellent. I guess you were busy for graduation season.
Yeah, I actually took pictures of you on Saturday. Saturday.
Yeah? You know what?
Yeah, I was a short guy with the two cameras.
And now connected because we both have masks on. I was like,
yeah.
Got it. I definitely didn't have hair.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Thank you for your service. Thank you for taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? Looking forward
No
to
problem,
the sharp images that you're going to put out.
Yeah. I'm trying to cut through them right now. Yeah.
All right. How did NCCU find you, Vernon? How did NCCU find you?
Actually, NCCU was my third option. So NC State was my first. UNC Charlotte was my second because I was actually living in Charlotte before I moved to Durham. So NCCU was my third option. You know, I just put it up there. And I actually went to a college fair at Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte. And at that college fair, I can't remember his name right now. It's right on top of my tongue. But one of the representatives from NCCU, I think he's still Paul. Yeah, Paul took my application by hand and brought it back. And you guys accepted me and I just came. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
That's how.
Where was this located?
This was Paul. He works for NCCU.
Okay. All right.
And I went to a college fair that was hosted at Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte. And I turned my paperwork in, and that's how I got accepted, like right on the spot.
Now,
yeah, I don't know what that program was. Yeah, but it was like an on the spot. Go ahead.
On the spot decision. I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Given that was your experience, I mean, I live in New York, so a lot of New York students go to these fairs and get on the spot admissions. What would you tell students who may be watching this, or admissions counselors, or high school counselors who may be watching this, how important these fairs are, interfacing directly with HBCUs in New York? They tell them that HBCUs don't have money. They really discourage it. What would you say to those people?
I think it's very important, honestly. Keep doing it as far as the counselors that, go out and host those things. It was very important to me because it was a time of uncertainty for me. I didn't know exactly where I want to go with the next, 4 or 5 years of my life. And, I had a great conversation with Paul. I turned my information in. My best friend actually turned his information in to the counselor, to the next table over, which was A&T. And my best friend went to A&T. I went to NCCU. So I just found that funny. And as far as students goes that are listening to this, it's very important. Just show up. Be prepared. You never know. You can be accepted on the spot, and the rest is history, Yeah.
Now, Vernon, we don't say that word. That we refer to that as the school down yonder. Okay.
The school down yonder. Yeah.
My mother went to A&T, so I can, we can go back and forth. But my dad went to Central, so that's all that counts. Okay.
All right, that's all that matters, man. But yeah, that's how that turned out. Yeah, it was an on the spot decision. Yeah,
I love what you said about that, because that kind of piggybacks off of what we talked about with Drew about a family of scenario. You got to interface with the people. Even our representatives are like the uncle or the auntie or the person, the cousin that we.
Yeah, it was just such a great conversation. He pulled me aside and he just gave it to me straight up. It wasn't a lot of it didn't feel like a sales pitch to come to Central. He really had a conversation with me. He listened to what I was saying, my concerns, my interests, and I was like, yep, let me fill this out. I turned it in, and then he took it. I got a decision, and that was the rest of it. I can't hear you.
Because I'm muted. Got it. Thank you. I didn't get to ask Drew this, but as employees of the university, what is one thing that the public needs to know about North Carolina Central University that will get them excited, they may not know, that will have them advocating on our behalf if they knew this?
The family aspect of NCCU extends right into being a staff member. It's amazing. You feel like you're coming to work with your family members each day. We look out for one another. For the most part, it's very easygoing. It can get hectic at times, and of course you're gonna get frustrated with different department doing different things certain ways. But overall, it's a great atmosphere to work in, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Yeah. And the flexibility is amazing. Yeah, the flexibility is amazing. So I can still run a business on the side, Yeah.
Exactly. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about photography in COVID and being an entrepreneur. How did COVID-19 or the pandemic or this last year impact your business?
Honestly, it didn't impact my business as much as I thought it was. The first shutdown, everything was very slow because people was trying to figure out what the heck is going on. But as far as when we open back up, at least, and you had to wear masks for the first phase of opening, everything picked back up. People wanted to do photo shoots. People wanted to celebrate their birthdays. The small little wins were more important during Corona for everyone because you couldn't really do anything. So any small little win, which is celebrating a goal or something that you achieved in life through a photo shoot or your birthday, they took advantage of that to come and take a photo shoot or celebrate something special. We
got to do everything for the gram. You know what I'm saying? First thing we got to do is update. I know Drew updated his LinkedIn immediately. You know what I'm saying? When he got the promotion, we got to update everything, right?
Yeah. But definitely, I've been a integral part of that process with keeping my people looking good and fly. And just understanding what they want from me and producing that. Yeah.
All right. Vernon Samuel from the class of 14, a photographer and also an employee right there in the Apple representative right at NCCU. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being out there with us for graduation on Saturday. You were bearing.
Yeah, man, it was hot. It was hot. Yeah, I didn't expect that because Masters got rained out Friday, so I wasn't counting on shooting 2 graduations in the same day. But we made it happen. Flexible.
All right, stick around. We're gonna bring Sarah in, and then we're gonna bring everybody back at the end. So stick around. All right, Vernon.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Come on, Vernon Sam from the class of 2014. Look, all them sharp images y'all see all over that website. You can thank him for that. And let's see if we can get some Macs to all of our students. Wouldn't that be a great thing for alumni to support with? Get all of our students Macs. People would flood to North Carolina Central if we were a Mac campus. Let's make that happen, Drew and Vernon. Let's make that happen. Matter of fact, who love Macs? Teachers. I know teachers love Macs. Let's bring in Sarah Freyer, like prayer. What's up? You taught me that.
Yes.
What's up, Sarah?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
highly effective. Give me the latest distinction that you have as an educator. What's the latest that you've got as an educator? I know you always popping over there.
Yeah, so I'm highly effective instructional teacher right now. So that's what's going on. I'm loving teaching still. You know, it's a lot going on with COVID. There's a lot of challenges, but that doesn't stop learning because learning can take place anywhere. It's just adapting to the changes.
What is the first thing that you can say that you've learned as an educator throughout this global pandemic and throwing people into, because, you know, I just graduated with a master's in educational technology and instructional design. So we started before the pandemic. So we were educating teachers on how to use technology, and now everybody got to use technology. What's the first thing you say that you learned during this time?
I did get better with my technology skills. Finding like more apps and online things like Nearpod to make the lessons engaging online where the kids can do it. That was fun because I'm very creative as a teacher. And so the most important thing that I took from this is that in teaching, you got to be flexible. But this right here, this took it to a whole different level of really what it means to be a lifelong learner.
Now, you are not from North Carolina now.
No.
How did NCCU find you?
I am from the great state of Washington. Okay. All the way, I tell you, but not Washington, D.C. That's where I live now, though. But I am from Washington State. So I always knew I wanted to go to an HBCU, coming from Washington. And Central found me because I have family in North Carolina, and my aunt, she lived right there in Durham. So as a child, you know, I had drove by, but I really decided that it was Central for me because of the model Truth and Service, and it just resonated with me. And when Central called me to let me know that I got accepted, I was like, "You're calling?" And they're like, "Yes, we were so impressed with your letter, and you're from Washington State. We really want you here. What can we do to get you here?" And I was like, "That's it. Like, you took time to call me to let me know that you really read everything on my application. You read what I sent, my story of why I want to go to college, and this is it. You got me." And they're like, "So you coming from Washington?" I said, "I'm coming."
Well, I'm so glad you did. And I'm so glad, again, you talked about your experience and how NCCU told you that you belong here. This is where you need to come across the country to be with us. And while you're saying that, we said this at the top of the show, but we are looking for alumni in the state of Washington.
Yes.
We have a special focus on these three states, in Illinois, Washington State, and Texas. So since you're alumni from Washington, what would you say to the good people in the great state of Washington about your alma mater, North Carolina Central University?
I would tell them to come. NCCU really felt a void for me that I felt growing up of like being the minority, you know, and there at Central, it naturally just felt like at home. Because I was so far, so sometimes I would be like, you know, I get a little extra love a little bit, you know, they're like, "You're so far," and I would tell them to come. It definitely feels like home. They are going to give back to you. It was just a very amazing experience of who I am today. As an educator, as a woman, it really made me to love where I come from, which is Washington State, to know that now I can impact other people because of what I learned from here. And the importance of Central, the main thing that I took from it is like what you get from here, take that to your community. Take it where you came from and where you're going next, wherever your community may be.
I love that. And just in your final, before we bring everybody in, from the educator perspective, what are we facing in education as we have a new administration? What is one thing that you would offer from your profession that you would share that you're kind of worried about, that you're concerned about, that you're following? What would that be in education for you?
One thing that I'm worried about is that making sure that teachers are equipped and schools are equipped to really tap into the social, emotional part of these children based on what we're going through in this country, with race, with being in the pandemic. Social emotional learning is very important, not just like a block, but what does that look like throughout the day? And I have been doing speaking engagements actually about that during the pandemic, and talking to teachers and school leaders all across the United States, and doing professional development on that topic. It's very important that we understand social emotional learning and what that looks like for all students at all times.
Indeed. Sarah Frayer, like prayer, class of 07. Thank you for being here, a highly effective educator and speaker about all things education, race, equity. You do it all. I've seen it all. Follow you. I'm so grateful and so proud of you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you for representing us so well. And get your folks in Washington, all the alumni that we might have, to join the Alumni Association and get us a chapter over there. We're trying to get a chapter.
Okay, I will.
All right, Sarah, let's bring in Drew Johnson and let's bring in Vernon Samuel. Is everybody here? We're getting Samuel's going to come in here in a moment when he gets in. There we go. All right. What's up? It's a great day to be an NCCU Eagle, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. We're all here. We're at the end of our hour, our half hour, actually. Maybe we should go to an hour. We got so much more to talk about. We need more time.
Right. It seemed like it went by so fast.
It is by design. Remember, I was doing this while I was in grad school, so I only had 30 minutes to give y'all every week. Okay.
Right.
And I'm about to be like Drew back and get a doctor. We're going to get to the next degree. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to figure myself out for 30 minutes every week for y'all. So we're just going to go around real quick. I asked Sarah, I didn't get to go with everybody, but there's two things I want to hear, right? In your profession, what are you following? What is a top story or something that you are following? Maybe something you're concerned about in your industry. Look, this show is all about highlighting alumni as experts in their field. I was tired of seeing TV shows where we didn't have Black experts and NCCU graduates as experts. So here we are. So this is an issue that you're following in the news or following in your best practices. Let's start with Drew.
Hey, you threw me on the spot, huh? Okay. I think one issue for me, or something I kind of look up every day, really is how to support our students as they are, coming back, or for summer school. How are they coming back from a pandemic, right? What can we do to best support them? What are some things that they need right now? I'm kind of trying to I'm trying to plan all these things as far as like, okay, we got summer sessions starting soon. They're gonna be on campus. What do they need? Like a goodie bag as far as hand sanitizers, wipes, stuff like that. And I think honestly, you have all these things that's going through your mind, and what it all resorts back to is, how can I help you become the best version of yourself? And so for me, a big thing that I try to work with the students that I come in contact with is I try to meet them where they are, and I try to explain to them, like, look, this is the last place where someone is genuinely going to try to help you, right? With no expectation of anything in return. And so why not take advantage of that? And so many times you think of, like, I try to spin it so many different ways. Sometimes I say, like, hey, almost if you're not taking advantage of these things, you're really kind of being selfish, and you're really hurting whoever's interacting with you, because these things are for you. We're trying to do all these things for you. So it's just a matter of meeting you where you are, establishing emotional connection with students. For me, it sounds kind of crazy, but really establishing those emotional connections, that's just spending time with students. So if I'm spending time with you, I'm talking with you, I'm finding out what might be some of your weaknesses, right? But at the same time, I'm strategizing how can I take those weaknesses, and by the time you graduate here, I've been able to help you turn those into strengths. And so that's kind of what it's all about, like truth and service. I feel like all Eagles, like, I see all these times, like, oh man, I never would have made it through school without you. I'm like, or things like that. And I myself personally, I'm like, I don't want any of that. Like, you good? That's all I care about. You good? You straight? You solid? So that's just kind of what it just means to me. I'm just happy that seeing that you succeed.
I love that. So uniquely NCCU, so on vision, on brand. And I've worked in an education space as a brand elevator. How do you elevate the brand of an educational institution? The experience of the student. That's how you elevate the brand, to make sure that they get there, that they stay there, that they finish on time. Like, those are the things that you got to do to elevate the brand. Really nothing else. If they graduate and they don't want to be an alumni, then you failed. So that you have to tap into those various. I can say that, right? I mean, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Drew. Vernon, what's an issue that you're following in your area?
I'm currently following like the issue I think that can become an issue is like gentrification. I would say, because I don't know if you've been on camp. Well, you've been on campus just this last Saturday, but there are 3 houses across from the CAF that we know nothing about. I'm like, are people allowed to just move and buy real estate right on our campus? And you can just see a lot of things changing. Me working for Apple, but Apple is also coming to the Triangle. I just read an article about that the other day, and it's like the landscape is changing so quickly, and you see all the upgrades coming to NCCU, new logos, new things, and it's like we're changing so fast, but I don't want us to lose our culture that makes us NCCU at the same time, if that makes sense. So that's an issue I've been following.
Thank you for that. Jokingly, I say there's 2 things we don't talk about. We don't talk about that school in Greensboro. We don't talk about that logo. Anyway, but we support. Okay, we support, right? It's growing on me. It's growing on me. Okay, it looks like Chevron. It looks like Chevron. Or whatever.
But yeah, I'm just looking at the landscape of things changing and the potential, the losing of our culture as a whole.
Yeah. I want to chime in. We're over time, but clearly this is a great conversation, and we should have talked about this earlier. Sometimes I think about what is the North Carolina Central University ethos, and who are we, right? Who are we? Not in reaction to another university, because I see that often, right? We are this because of that. Like, I was actually talking to a mentor of mine that even when we say Eagle Pride, right? That comes from the other school. That's in reaction to the other school. If you think about the cultural ethos of a dog as opposed to an eagle, we don't have pride. An eagle does not have pride. An eagle is regal. It has territory. It flies alone. If you just think about the anatomy or the ethos of those animals, we don't have the same. We have very few similarities, right? And I was listening to T.D. Jakes. He was talking about the difference between a tortoise and a giraffe, and how they can walk alongside of each other, but if the giraffe concerns itself too long with the things of the tortoise, it will actually lose consciousness, because if the net goes below a certain kind of altitude for a certain time, they'll go unconscious. So we really have to figure out what is the cultural ethos of North Carolina Central University, so that we can then talk about these things. People coming on campus, people buying. I mean, even when I was in the CAP after graduation, there was a SWAT team that went into a space right there across a house that was there. I was like,
seriously? Oh wow!
Is that student housing? I mean, who is that?
Yeah, you never know, man. But yeah, I've just been seeing a lot of wacky things happen in and out around the campus, and I'm just just a little alarming.
Yeah, I'm so great. This is a very important conversation, right? Why? Because as NCCU alumni unite and have these conversations, we can make a change. We must give. We must equip the university financially to buy those properties, to expand our territory. We have to do this. And of course, the budget always is based on state and federal. So the soft money they can go and buy some property will come from an endowment. It will come from an alumni that writes a check, or a frat or sorority, and that's how we got to do it. And I got to talk frank and flat on this show because it's mine, and I just think it's important for us to talk flat and frank about our university if we want it to sustain long term. Sarah, I'll let you respond. I know that you already gave your thing. If you want to respond to anything, we're going to move to our final thoughts so we can close. But Sarah, you want to respond?
Got it.
No, I'm good. I agree. I said my part. I know we ran over time, so I respect that. We can move on.
Look, maybe I'm the one that don't respect time. My team, not my team, talking about looking at the clock like you're supposed to be done 4.5 minutes ago. Okay, but look, I want to go into this. It's right. Time for our Eagles Give Challenge. Eagles Give Challenge. All right, this is where you heard my echo. What we're doing here is we want people to go to eaglesgive.com, and make a recurring gift to the university. And of course, join the Alumni Association. But I want to go around to each of our folks before we go to final words and see if you're going to give to the university. They have 2 employees, Sarah, so I know they give. They probably do it at direct deposit, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to start with Sarah. Sarah, will you give to the university by visiting eaglesgive.com, making a recurring gift of at least $19.10?
Yes, I will. I do give, so I will continue to give. Yes.
Thank you. See that? I will continue to give. All right, that's what we're talking about. Okay, Drew, will you give to the university a recurring gift?
Yeah, I can do that. It's not a problem.
And like we said, you can do it's right there on eaglesgive.com. It's payroll deduction for employees. It's right there. You won't even see it. You won't even see it. Okay. Thank you, Drew. All right. Vernon, will you give to the university? Will you make a recurring gift to the university?
Sir. Yes, sir. I got to pull up in another tab right here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's the Eagles Give Challenge. Y'all visit eaglesgive.com and make a recurring gift to the university. Just a couple other things before we close. And guys, get ready for your final thoughts. We're going to come back around and get your final thoughts. So that's the Eagles Give Challenge. Summer reading. Remember this as we close. Summer reading. If you know an Eagle that has a book, we want to have them. If they're an author, we want to have them on the show in our summer months, and we want to read their book and really dissect what's going on. I got a few over here in the back. I'm from the history department, so I have several former classmates who are published authors now. So I definitely want to get them on. But if you know somebody, let us know. All right, we're going into our final moments, our final thoughts. This is a section of our show where you say one thing you want folks to be left with at the end of this show. We're going to start with the first lady of our show tonight, Sarah Frayer. Prayer. Sarah, what's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is just to tell the Eagles, our future Eagles, just to continue to soar high. Like you said, Keon, Eagles, we are one that can soar by ourselves. And what we learned at Central, we are able to soar by ourselves, but also go back and grab some others to soar with us.
Come on. Let's go, soaring Eagles. Eagles soar. Eagles soar. Yes, come on, Sarah. All right, let's go to Vernon. Samuel, what's your final thoughts for tonight?
My final thoughts are just, putting in the work every day and, stick with it. If you do decide to come to NCCU, make it worth your while. Connect with people. Don't be afraid to talk to people. You never know where, that friendship or that association may take you in the future. So definitely nurture relationships while you're at NCCU or, any other place in Durham that, while you're here going through NCCU, and just make those connections last, and you'll see what it becomes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. All right, Drew Johnson, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts, I would just have to piggyback off Vern a little bit there, as far as, if you look at us tonight, we're all in 3 different type of, sectors of business, but at the same time, we're building that network, right? So even tomorrow, I feel like I've seen Vern before. Like I've kind of been.
I think I saw you jogging yesterday.
So it's just a matter of that is the HBCU space. Yo, you know what? I saw you the other day. Versus you're at other institutions, other spaces. There's 20 other thousand people, and so those relationships that you build, those connections that you build, being able to leverage those, as you build your future. And so that's kind of what, if I could, tell anyone or try to convince anyone, this is the kind of stuff that you just don't get at other institutions.
Yeah. Bernie, you probably saw him on a scooter. That's what
hey, I'll be crushing my scooter now, man. It's right in my trunk, man.
I love that. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Remember, guys, NCCUalumni.org. That's how you join the NCCU Alumni Association. Wherever you are in the world, we'll tell you where your local chapter is, close to where you live. And then go to eaglesgive.com to make a recurring gift to the university. The last thing I'll say is, as we always say, you belong here. That's what we're saying from now on. You belong here at NCCU. And an eagle is no common, ordinary barnyard fowl. Until next week, I'm Keon Brown in New York. This is NCCU Live. Thank you for watching. Take care.
Peace.